Welcome to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. On this show, we use the Triggator philosophy to help you build a spending plan that fits your life, build your savings and investments, and knock out debt with confidence. Today, we're talking about something that's probably been hiding in plain sight. The silent budget killer, the sneaky saboteur, the gator in your garage. Yes, I am talking about those underfed alligator funds. You might know them as sinking funds. You might just call them money I hope shows up when I need new tires. But here's the truth. If your alligator fund is too small, too vague, or missing entirely, your budget is set up to be blown. Today's episode is not just about identifying those lurking expenses. It's about building a plan that actually works in the real world. We're going to name the alligators that most people forget and get bit by later. Show you how to spot when your fund is too small or just wishful thinking. And teach you how to align your alligator funds with your paycheck schedule using the Triggator method. Because your spending plan shouldn't fall apart every time your kid outgrows their shoes, your oil needs changing, or the dog eats something that he shouldn't. You don't need more panic, you need more planning. And it's not about saving more, it's about saving smarter. So whether your alligator funds are thriving, struggling, or flat out non-existent, stick around. We're going to give them the meal plan that they need to keep your budget breathing easy. Let's get into it. Alligator expenses, what you forgot to plan for and why everyone does. Let's start here. Most people don't blow their budgets because they're bad with money. They blow it because of alligator expenses. You know the ones I'm talking about. They don't live in your monthly plan. They don't set a calendar invite. They just show up, usually with a price tag and a deadline. Let me paint the scene. You're cruising along in your budget, feeling good. And then your car registration is due, or your dog gets sick, or your Amazon Prime renews for the whole year. Surprise. And suddenly you're scrambling. You're pulling from your emergency fund, you're swiping your card and promise to figure it out later. You sigh dramatically in the Target parking lot. Sound familiar? This isn't about lack of discipline. It's about underestimating reality. What are alligator expenses? So if you're new to the podcast, first, welcome. Second, let me tell you about alligator expenses. Alligators are the expenses that sneak up because they don't show up every month. They're not part of your rent or groceries. They're not luxuries or splurges. They're just real life. Some of them show up quarterly, some annually. Some just wait in the shadows until the universe says, let's see how calm you really are today. And here's the kicker. According to Mint, 65% of Americans say non-monthly expenses are the biggest stressor in their budget. Not rent, not eating out, just life sneaking up on them with a school fundraiser and an overdue oil change. Here are a few common examples. Car maintenance, like oil changes, tire replacement, brake pads. Pet costs, things like vet visits, grooming, flea prevention. Medical costs, co-pays, prescriptions, sports physicals. Back to school items like supplies, fees, or clothing shifts. Subscription or renewals, things like Amazon Prime, different software you have, or the warehouse clubs. Clothing, seasonal shifts, kids growing faster than your budget, home maintenance, filter replacements, landscaping, busted water heaters, gifts, birthdays, holidays, weddings, we're all chipping in texts, sports and activities, uniforms, registrations, shoes, equipment. And of course, my personal favorites, the, oh yeah, I forgot we do that every year expense, like Valentine's Day gifts. Or the extra grocery budget needed for that amazing Thanksgiving feast, or family photo sessions that somehow cost more than your first car. That car repair, that wasn't random. That alligator was just like Bruce Banner, calm on the outside until it wasn't. Remember, I'm always angry. Why we don't plan for them. There are three big reasons why people don't plan for alligators. Number one, we think in monthly terms. If it doesn't hit this month, we don't assign it. So when it does hit, we say it came out of nowhere. But let's be honest, it didn't. It's just been chilling beneath the water. Number two, we use hope as a strategy. We hope the car doesn't need repairs. We hope the kid's shoes last. We hope the dog doesn't get sick again. Hope is a beautiful thing, but in budgeting, it's a bad plan. Number three, we confuse irregular with optional. Just because it's irregular doesn't mean that it's optional. In fact, most of these alligators are non-negotiable. We just forget them because they're sneaky. How to spot your own. Here's a quick exercise. Pull up your bank statements from the last 12 months. Now you can do this manually, or a lot of banks will let you do it digitally, where you can log in and pull 12 months worth of history into a nice little file. Now, let's look at every expense that's over $100 that doesn't happen monthly. Highlight them. Now ask, did I plan for this or did I survive it? If you survived it, that's an alligator. If it made you mad, anxious, or hit the credit card, definitely an alligator. And if it made you say, oh no, we forgot about that again, congrats, you just found an invisible one. How this ties into your triangle. Here's why alligators matter so much. They disrupt your budget because you didn't assign them. They delay your savings because you rate it to cover the surprise. They derail your debt payoff because you're swiping or pausing progress. And here's the worst part. If you hit 2 or 3 of these in the same month, you're starting to feel like your whole spending plan is a joke. Like all your effort isn't getting you anywhere. But it's not your fault. It's the alligators you forgot to feed. The juice box effect. Let me give you a quick story, one that I heard from a listener named Sam. Sam was feeling really proud of his budgeting progress. He had his mortgage, grocery, gas, all the usual suspects covered. And then his daughter started kindergarten. Suddenly, $18 juice box fee, $24 PTA starter donation, $7 field trip, $9.25 for a class t-shirt, and of course $65 for new shoes after her first pair got scuffed in the sandbox. And Sam, bless his spreadsheet-loving heart, said, I didn't realize school had so many surprise expenses. That's the thing. They're not really surprises. They're just unassigned alligators lying in wait right next to the juice boxes. In the next section, we're going to talk about what happens when you do have alligator funds, but they're vague, underfed, or off target. Because a weak alligator fund isn't much better than none at all. The starving alligator, signs your fund is too small or too vague. Okay, so maybe you're ahead of the game. You've got alligator funds. You've named a few categories. You've even set aside some money. But somehow, the bite still hurts. You still find yourself scrambling. You still dip into your emergency fund. You still have that moment where you say, wait a minute, I thought I planned for this. If that's you, there's a good chance your alligator fund isn't missing, it's just malnourished. It's vague, it's too small, and it's not aligned with reality. And a vague alligator fund is like tossing a rice cake to a hungry crocodile. Not helpful and honestly, a little dangerous. The signs of an underfed alligator fund. So how do you know your alligator fund is starving? Here are a few big red flags. The "it wasn't that much" swipe. You pull out your debit card thinking, it's just $90, I'll make up for it later. But that just $90 wasn't planned, wasn't assigned, and now it's eating into your grocery money. That's the underestimated alligator. You thought you planned for it, but your numbers were too low. The Frankenstein fund. You've got one big pot labeled miscellaneous, and everything unexpected goes in there. Car stuff, school stuff, clothes, Amazon randomness, pet emergencies, Uncle Dave's surprise birthday dinner. The result? You don't know what's what. and you just hope the bucket holds. That's a Frankenstein fund. Too vague to be effective. The oops, I forgot that's in there moment. You remembered the oil change. You even planned for it, but you didn't account for the air filter, the tire rotation, and the mysterious $12 shop fee. That's an incomplete alligator. You planned the category, but you forgot the real cost. The emergency fund rating pattern. You tell yourself, well, it's not really an emergency, but it's the only place with money. So you tap into your emergency savings to pay for new shoes, a dentist copay, school pictures, scout camp registration. If this keeps happening, it's a sign your alligator fund is too small or doesn't exist for that category at all. The emotional cost of underfed funds. Let's be honest, when this stuff happens, it doesn't just mess with your numbers. It messes with your momentum. You feel discouraged. You question if budgeting even works. You start to feel like you're the problem. You're not. Your fund just needs better fuel, and that is fixable. A weak alligator fund can quietly mess up all three sides of your triangle. Budget. When a planned expense isn't fully covered, you start patching holes with your weekly spending. Save. You raid savings instead of building it. Pay off debt. You pause your progress, or worse, swipe the credit card and backslide. A well-fed alligator fund is not a luxury. It's an insurance policy your budget actually needs. Real story, the annual oops. Let me tell you about a family who thought that they had it all together. We'll call them the Carters. The Carters have been working their plan faithfully for a few months. Alligator funds, check. Emergency fund, check. Debt payments, rolling. But then July hit. Annual car registration, $120. School fees, $80. Birthday gifts for 3 cousins, $150. New football cleats because conditioning has started, $60. An unplanned vet visit, $275. All things they technically had categories for, but every single one was underfunded. They had $40 in car expenses, $30 in gifts, and a big fat zero in pet care because it's just a puppy. They weren't irresponsible, they were just undercalculating. So they hit pause, they recalculated and adjusted their goals. And next July, smooth sailing, no scrambling, no stress. Because once you know alligators are underfed, you can feed them. Here's a mastery tip. How to actually feed your alligators. Here's how to stop underfeeding your alligators without messing up your spending plan. Step 1, look at last year's spend. Not what you wish you would have spent, what you actually spent. That's your alligator's true appetite. Step 2, break it down by paycheck. Let's stop thinking in monthly terms. Alligators aren't bills. They don't come on the 1st and the 15th. If it's an annual expense, divide by the number of times you get paid in a year. So weekly, 52, bi-weekly, 26, semi-monthly, 24. If it's a semi-annual expense, like your car insurance premium, divide by half that, 26, 13, or 12. This is how you create precision planning, the kind that makes your future self sigh in relief instead of scream into a throw pillow. Mastery tip, time is your best defense. Your best defense against alligators isn't panic, it's time. The earlier you start feeding one, the smaller each bite has to be. Saving $500 for back to school? If you start in June for an August spend, that's maybe 4 paychecks. You need $125 per paycheck. Ouch. But start right after your August spend for the following year. That's 24 or 26 paychecks to spread across. That's just like $20 a check. That's manageable. Planning your alligator fund by paycheck isn't overkill. It's sharpening your axe. Like Lincoln said, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. But what if you're already behind? I hear you. You might be saying, Nate, school's in 2 months and I have nothing saved. Totally fair. That alligator's already swimming. So here's your move. Count how many paychecks you have left until the expense hits. Divide the expected total cost by that number. If that number feels too steep, then assign something. Even $20 or $40 takes the edge off. Then, and this is the key, immediately set up your plan for next year. Take what you actually spend this year and divide it by all your future pay periods. That's how you turn panic into peace. That's how you build an alligator fund muscle. And that's how you make progress feel doable. Paycheck rhythm, how to feed the right gators at the right time. All right, so now you've got your alligators identified. You've calculated how much to save for each one using your paycheck frequency. You've even accepted the reality that time, not panic, is your best defense. But there's still one big question left. How do I actually feed the gators without starving my other goals? The answer, rhythm. A budget without rhythm is like trying to salsa to elevator music. Awkward, confusing, and easy to give up on. When your alligator funds are aligned with your paycheck rhythm, everything flows. You don't feel overwhelmed. You don't guess. You just fund what needs funding on time, every time. The beat of your budget. Let's simplify the idea. If you get paid every 2 weeks, then your plan should move every 2 weeks. Not monthly, not whenever I remember, not the first of the month because that's what my parents did. You don't live monthly. So your alligator funds should follow suit. What gets assigned gets funded. Let's say you got $200 to save for car registration in 6 months, $300 for holiday travel in 12 weeks, $240 for your kid's braces retainer in 8 paychecks. You don't wait until November and scramble. You assign those dollars right now, broken out by paycheck. Car registration, $10 every paycheck. Holiday travel, $25 per check. Retainer, $30 per check. You plug those numbers into your spending plan before anything else gets the leftovers. Because gators don't wait for permission. They just bite. Batch or separate. Now let's talk structure. Should I keep alligators in one big category, something vague like alligator fund, or split them out? First of all, no, don't just call it alligator fund. We all remember how well that one big pot worked out in the dark night. Seriously, one guy controls the whole pile and then suddenly Joker's burning a pyramid of cash? Yeah, let's not do that. You need at least some level of granularity. Why? Because vague equals vulnerable. You're way more likely to miss a sneaky alligator if you can't see what's actually in the swamp. So how granular should you go? Well, that depends. Me, I like precision. I want to know exactly what's in my tire fund. I like to have separate birthday funds for each kid. I even like knowing I've got the random license renewal, gator fed, and sleeping. But I'll be honest, you don't need to go full spreadsheet ninja to make this work. There's absolutely a place for grouped funds like car maintenance, birthday fund, kid stuff, seasonal expense. The key is that you've planned properly for what's inside that fund. You don't want to open the car fund to find out you can't cover both tires and oil changes. Remember what Master Yoda said, not in the movies, but in the deeper Jedi wisdom texts. Named your fear must be, before banish it you can. The same goes for your alligators. If you don't name them, they'll keep showing up hungry. Quick rule of thumb. Personally, the more granular you get, the better your chances of funding each alligator correctly. But whether you prefer more structure or less, the golden rule is this: make sure you don't get bit. If your categories keep you clear, funded, and friction-free, great. If they leave you guessing and hoping it's enough, time to sharpen that plan. Test your gator flow. Here's a fun and slightly nerdy test. Look at your Alligator fund right now. Pick one upcoming expense, like back to school or maybe even Christmas. Ask, do I know exactly how much I'm saving each paycheck? Does that amount feel sustainable? Will it be ready in time? If the answer is no to any of those, boom, you found a rhythm issue. Good news, rhythm issues are way easier to fix than overdraft fees. You don't need a raise, you don't need magic, you just need a feeding schedule that fits your real life. The birthday budget fix. Let me tell you about a guy that I coached. Let's call him Brian. Brian had 4 kids. Somehow 3 of their birthdays landed within a 6-week span. Every year, he got blindsided by party costs, gifts, and random extras. So we walked through his plan and set up a birthday Alligator fund, not monthly, but broken into 26 paychecks, $25 a check. Now, when the birthday gators started circling, Brian just smiles, zips open the fund, and says, "Let's party." That's the power of rhythm, not panic, just progress. Let's connect it all back. Budget. You assign these savings per paycheck, not once a month. Save. Your Alligator funds are planned savings, not whatever's left. Pay off debt. Because you planned ahead, your debt payoff stays consistent. No derailments. It's budgeting in motion. It's a rhythm that reflects how you actually live. And when it works, you stop reacting to your money and start leading it. Today's challenge, feed one hungry gator. Today's mini mission is this. Pick one alligator that's been sneaking up on you and start feeding it. Here's how. Open your spending plan or your notes app. Choose one upcoming expense that you've been ignoring or underestimating. Write down how much you think it will cost, or even better, look at what it cost last time. Count how many paychecks before it hits. Divide. That's your paycheck assignment. Bonus. Assign the first chunk today. Don't wait until the perfect moment. All it takes is one move to start winning back control. Momentum builds fast when you act small on purpose. Got bit? Tell me about it. If you have an alligator story, whether it's a wipeout, a win, or a hilarious surprise expense, I want to hear it. Email me at podcast@Triggator.com or message me on social @Triggator on Instagram, Facebook, or X. Let's share some real moments and help each other stay one step ahead of the gators. If today's episode helped you spot a budget leak or sharpen your alligator strategy, follow or subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Leave a review to help people ditch budget panic for peace. Share this episode with a friend who's always one birthday party away from financial meltdown. And don't forget to follow us @Triggator on Instagram, X, and Facebook for daily tips, funny moments, and behind-the-scenes updates. Let's make budgeting sustainable and maybe even a little fun. Next time on the podcast, money and the mind game, why budgeting feels so hard and what to do about it. Ever feel like you know what to do with your money but just can't seem to stick with it? You're not broken. You're just battling brain chemistry, emotional history, and a system that wasn't built for your life. In the next episode, we'll explore why budgeting triggers anxiety and shame, how to reframe budgeting as clarity, not control, and how the Triggator triangle turns overwhelm into empowerment. If you've ever felt like budgeting is harder than it should be, this one's for you. Remember, alligators don't wait until you're ready, but they can be tamed if you feed them first. Thanks for listening to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. See you next time.